All right, welcome back, guys. Sorry about the rush start, but they hopped right into the game before us, so we're gonna get in here as quickly as possible and hopefully we didn't miss too much. I'm still back with Ray, so that has not changed.
Yep, we're going to be casting the top four of Tuesday Night Hype number 56. It's going to be Dota2Better against WOT, or what. I'm not sure how he actually wants to pronounce it, but either way, it's going to be Patron versus a what looks to be Reno Lock in
Yeah,
game one.
still waiting on him to give me access to cast the stream, and then we'll be good to go with that.
Yep, and it looks like Dota2Better has a pretty strong start. He has Unstable Ghoul into Acolyte, but what? His hand's kind of clunky, but he does have Reno. So that's going to be really good. But I think he needs to find some AoE to deal with potential patrons in the future.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest parts of this matchup, I think, is just getting the Hellfire and the Shadow Flame to clean out the patron lineup. The number of times I played this matchup and then the patrons just conceded on turn 5 after I've Hellfired their initial patron wave is actually pretty incredible.
Yeah, let's see here. The matchup got a lot worse once Warsong Commander got nerfed because you could no longer just frothing people from nowhere and just kill them. But here, it looks like Dota2Better is going to be able to get some pretty good value off of this Acolyte of Pain. He's going to be able to hit into the in-gang boss and clear off the 1-1 with the Acolyte to draw a card. Whether he ends up trading to clear off the other half of the in-gang boss, I'm not sure. Oh, he's thinking about just clearing the in-gang boss in general right now, not going for the max value
Yeah,
on
I
the
think I'm
Acolyte of
fine
Pain.
with that. You only lose one draw, which probably won't be super relevant, and you can protect Unstable Ghoul a little better, I think.
Yeah, and let's see what WOT or what draws. And it looks like he draws the Owl, so it's a good thing Dota2Better decided to clear that this turn because I believe the Acolyte of Pain would have probably just gotten owled.
Yeah, I think that's probably your best owl target in this matchup, unless you're forced to use it on a patron or something. But as Warlock, that shouldn't ever happen.
Yeah, we may just see a. He was thinking he just hovered over Argus, so he
Argus,
might have. Yeah, he might have been thinking about just Argusing the Imp,
that seems
and
so bad.
um, it clears the board. So, but at the same time, he also has no board because the Fiery War Axe will just pick it off. But
Yeah,
I think it's either that or Belcher because he might really just want to be saving the coin to go coin Emperor next turn. And if he wants to do that, Argus is the only logical play here besides silencing. He has too many cards in his hand to silence and tap, so this might just be his only good play. It just feels really crappy.
yeah. I guess maybe it'll work out down the line. I think.
Yeah. And here we're just going to see a frothing. We might see the Dread Corsair, but he might want to hold it for a potential, like, Deathspite later. But, yeah, we'll probably just see it be dropped here.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty good spot. It'll hopefully protect your frothing a little bit. You can get in some damage with that.
Yep, and what? He draws an Implosion. He might just go for the Dream here and Implosion the frothing for 4. That would be pretty
That seems
pretty
like
nuts.
one of the easiest ways to lose this game is to just implosion for 2 and then get whirlwind and then take a ton of face damage.
Yeah, it's definitely not the right play, but he decides to go with Belcher here, and that's gonna be pretty. It's not really easily cleaned up, but Slam trading the Corsair and Corcoran Elite clearing up the other half is gonna be quite an efficient clear, and it stops the frothing from being hellfired. And oh, he decides to execute, and I think he's gonna go for a Battle Rage for 2 here. So I actually like this a lot too.
Yeah, you get to draw some cards, you get to deal a decent amount of face damage, you kind of get a mix of everything you want to do there, I think.
Yeah, I really like that play by Dota2Better. And he even has the Corcoran for burst later. And what? He just decides to Implosion. He doesn't want to risk anything. He's just going to make sure that this is BGHable, guaranteed, clear the board, and see what Dota2Better has.
Yeah, and it looks like it's actually going to kind of work out at the moment. We don't see any whirlwind effects from Dota2Better. He did use his BGH on Boom turn, which is kind of sketchy, I guess. But if he plays Boom, he'll be able to clear it, so it's not a huge concern.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a good play by WOT to just BGH that frothing that turn. Dota2Better does have the Dr. Boom, but it's not super effective on this board because you can't clear the BGH, and that's going to be able to trade in pretty cleanly with the boom and some imps.
Yeah, and he'll have Mortal Coil to clean things up as well, and he'll even be able to add an Emperor on. So I think if Dota2Better goes for the boom here, he's going to fall really behind.
Yeah. And he ends up going with the boom, which I think is still probably just your best play. Your only other option is to unstable Ghoul and maybe play Korkron Elite and go face or something like that, but everything seems pretty bad. The Dr. Boom just feels right. You have 7 mana, it's turn 7. Why not?
Yeah, that's very often the thought process with Dr. Boom. We'll see what WOT elects to do here. I mean, he could just trade a bunch of stuff in and then play Emperor. I don't really understand playing Emperor first.
He's probably just not gonna clear the boom bots. Oh, whoa! He goes face. He's not clearing the boom? Interesting. Huh. I didn't even think of that as an option, not clearing the boom. You are not actually dead to Inner Rage, so...
Patron, but what are you pushing damage for?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Because generally, I find that you win the matchup as Reno by controlling the board and just having a stranglehold on just your opponent not being able to kill you and having no minions on board. But WOT seems to take the aggressive route and just go face.
Yeah, the thing that makes this play even more weird to me is that he's not like even the Leroy like there's not even like a hope to top deck Leroy, I don't think, because you're not playing that with this demon package. So like the most he's dealing from end next turn is 5.
Let's see here. So he does have a discounted Mal'Ganis, which will buff the imps, but I don't think you can count on them living, especially against a patron. Like, you know he didn't have Whirlwind because he didn't play one the turn before, but at the same time he had 7 mana and a Dr. Boom, so maybe Dr. Boom was just better than playing a Whirlwind in a subpar creature. It's hard to tell, but either way, this is his play. Let's see how it works out for him. It's definitely an interesting line. That's for sure.
Yeah, if 2 of these imps survive, it might not actually end up being as bad as I had initially thought.
No, and it looks like 2 of the imps do end up living.
One interesting thing is he can't Mal'Ganis and silence the unstable Ghoul.
He doesn't need to. He can actually just Mal'Ganis and clear the boom this turn.
Oh,
and then he has a Mal'Ganis on board and a 3/1 imp.
Actually, that's still a really good spot. Yeah, we haven't seen execute Dota2Better, so...
No, in fact, we saw him just use one on the Belcher not too long ago, so that's even more of a reason to do this play.
This is actually a really good line. I was really confused last turn, but...
Yeah, it ends up really working out. But we see a Deathbite here. That's not going to do too much, but it's going to help a little bit, I think. It lets you...
It's just like he's 1 damage off being able to kill Mal'Ganis with either the Deathbite or the Grom.
Yeah, I think you end up killing the 3/1 imp here, maybe, and just passing the turn. Because hitting Mal'Ganis is kind of awkward, and your opponent has been so aggressive this game that maybe you're afraid of something like Power Overwhelming, Doomguard shenanigans.
Yeah, hitting the 3/1 imp doesn't feel that great either, but maybe you can get an extra draw off the Acolyte or something because you did that.
You also keep your Armor Smith alive another turn, which is kind of awkward to deal with. And we see here that WOT draws a Molten Giant, but he's not going to lose any life from tapping anytime soon.
I think you just maybe Molten Loatheb.
No, Molten Reno seems really strong. I don't actually know how you lose if you Molten Reno. Molten Loatheb I like a lot too because it stops things like Inner Rage and making a bunch of patrons because you have no good AoE in your hand, but...
I mean, I think the one concern for dying would be that Mal'Ganis gets executed and then Grom goes to the face. So
yeah.
Maybe Loatheb prevents that. But I think healing to 30 does just as good of a job with or an even better job rather with a slightly weaker minion.
No, actually healing to 30 is much better because if you could also be afraid of like Cruel Taskmaster or something and then the 2 minions, no.
It's still not enough.
Yeah, it's still not enough. Both plays are pretty safe. And we do see the execute off the top. So that's definitely going to go down on the Mal'Ganis.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no other execute to deal with this 8/8, so I don't really know how he wants to deal with that. He can play Grom and trade Grom into it, but you're never winning, I don't think, if you make that play.
I think it's pretty simple. I think you just end up ignoring the 8/8 and executing the Mal'Ganis, and you just kill off the Reno with the weapon and a minion. But the question is whether you want to play Grom and risk pushing damage there, and like risk him having like something like a BGH, Siphon Soul, and Owl, or whether you want to try making patrons and seeing how that works out for you. Either way, you're not in a great spot if you're Dota 2. And oh, or he could just face tank the damage. I didn't even.
Ballsy play to just take 9.
I like it. I like it. It lets him deal with the 8/8, so this is not actually bad for him at all.
No, and he picked up the second armor smith, so he's been gaining even more armor. He's actually going to
Yeah.
go off outside of a range where Doomguard would kill him.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of just clearing the Mal'Ganis. For some reason, I just thought you couldn't take that damage, but you definitely can afford to, especially since you can armor up with this line. There's really not much of a threat of lethal.
No, I'd still much rather be at the handlock here than the patron, though. This is still a rough spot to actually navigate to a winning position from, I think.
Yeah, Dota2Better, he definitely navigated this matchup really well, but WOT, he has the answers for everything pretty much. He's just going to Demon Wrath to clear these patrons, and Dota2Better is not really going to have a board after this.
No, you give him a bunch of armor, but, like, you win the long game every time, so you're probably not that upset about it.
No, especially if you end up dropping Loath up here. There's, like, not much your opponent can do in the terms of, like, battle raging into, like, battle raging and stuff like that. But he opts to go with the Drake, and Dota 2 actually does draw the battle rage. So if he gets another battle rage, he could start to, like, chain battle rages.
Oh, he already used one battle rage, actually, so that was second.
Oh, was that a second one?
Yeah.
What did he used his first one a lot earlier?
Yeah, I think it was on, like, turn 2 or turn 3 or something like that.
Okay. So either way, it's not a huge deal.
No, I believe he's out of Acolytes as well, actually. So in terms of card draw, I think he's basically out, and he's just going to be drawing a card a turn for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I don't know how he can deal the damage to kill WOT, but I think he might just have to go face here.
My, like, reasoning for swinging in would be that next turn you'll swing into something else and Whirlwind, which should take care of this Twilight Drake. Lothab might put a stop in that if that ends up coming down here, or Dr. Boom might, like, make that play slightly worse, as your boombots could kill patrons. They could also make more patrons, though, so...
Yeah, I think it depends on your list, actually. Like, if Dota2Better has more threats in his deck, and he thinks that he can get this patron to, like, populate and stick on the board, this is definitely the correct line. Like, if he has means to actually make creatures and win the game, clearing the board is definitely correct here.
I think it's just rough, because we haven't seen an Inner Rage yet, and he only has 7 cards left, so I think 2 of his cards are Inner Rages. Which
Yeah.
maybe not ideal draws off the top at the moment.
Yep, and we also haven't seen Hellfire from WOT yet, so Dota2Better knows that there's definitely some AoE left in WOT's deck.
Yeah, there's probably a Hellfire, a Shadow Flame, and possibly a Twisting Nether as well.
Yep.
But I think you still just go for patrons here, and maybe he doesn't have it, which as we can see, he doesn't.
Yeah, and the boombots, in theory, can actually help you.
Yeah. I mean, they can help, or even if they, like, kill a 1-health patron, you're not that upset. But I have seen scenarios where they end up just killing both of your, like, high-health patrons, and you just lose the game because of it, so...
But I think you have to go for it in this scenario. You could actually clear off the board if you hit the Armor Smith into the Boom, and then a Whirlwind. That's...
Patrons
5, 6...
disappeared on, the spectator screens. That's gonna make it rather hard to figure out where one of them showed up. So
Oh
there's
my.
an invisible patron somewhere on the screen. Just imagine it, I guess.
So Dota2Better can actually clear the Boom and clear the Drake here. If he, oh wait, did he just mess that up?
I don't
Did he not
think
attack with the Armor Smith?
I mean, he missed 1 damage.
No. Oh, he attacked the face with the Armor Smith. Okay.
Okay,
He could if he attacked the face with the Armor Smith, but had he attacked the
Oh, Oh, he could have
Boom.
traded into Boom, right?
Yeah, and then he could have Corcoran delete the face to push 4 instead of 1. But that was actually risky to go for, because there's no guarantee that your Armorsmith lives through the Boom bots. Like, I don't think you can be that optimistic and hope both Boom bots hit your face when you have that many creatures on board.
Yeah, that was a really low probability outcome, I guess.
And
Still
from
no way to deal with this from what?
No, but we do see a Lothib come down, which means if Dota2Better does draw an Inner Rage, he won't be able to use it on Grom.
Ooh, Sir Finley. He might be able to get Mage Hero power here.
If WOT hadn't have Lothibbed, I think that would have been game if Dota2Better drew Inner Rage.
Maybe he doesn't run 2, because it's really weird to me that we haven't seen 1 with 5 cards left in his deck.
Ooh, so he gets Life Tap, but he goes for the Mage Hero power. He's kind of afraid of dying, which is very understandable. And Mage also lets you make more patrons, so I like this a lot.
Yeah, I don't really think you want to be tapping into only 5 cards left in your deck, so I can definitely understand the Mage Hero power there.
The Mage Hero power, it's kind of like it just makes a 3/3. Like, it's like a super Silverhand recruit.
Yeah, it's halfway between a Silverhand recruit and the Dread Infernal Hero power.
It's halfway. Now he's really debating whether he wants to take that damage or not. He knows his opponent's probably playing demons, so
I think you feel pretty safe as long as you can stay above like 5, right? So this trade only takes him down to 9. I'd feel pretty confident in being able to tank this, especially having already seen Dark Bomb.
yeah. But he decides to trade in the Patron,
Yeah,
which lets him push 3 damage to face either way because he gets to swing the weapon into the face. And it looks like Dota2Better actually has lethal if he can draw a way to activate the Grom.
Yeah, unfortunately on the mainstream the spectator just completely bugged out, so we're getting right back into it. My apologies about that.
Yep, and what he does have healing, so that's actually not the case because he can just play Healbot and Earthen Ring and stuff like that and just heal out of it. But from Dota2Better's perspective, he would have lethal if there was like nothing going on and he draws an activator for Grom.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what wants to do here. I guess he can heal about Earthen Ring and get out of any super threatening lethal damage, but he's yet to draw a way to deal with these patrons once again.
And there is the Inner Rage. So let's see. He has 12, 13, 16, 19, 22, 20. He's 1 damage off of lethal. I think you just go for it.
You just smork, and I mean, putting him on not being able to tap for answers I think is really important.
Wait, let me think about this. 12, 15, 18, 19, 22, 23, right? That's 23? I'm counting it over again. Let's see. Would that have made a difference if he had not traded last turn? I don't think so, because he still pushed 3 last turn. So he's actually 1 damage off lethal. That's so crazy. Like, this game looks so grim for Dota2Better, but he's able to manage to like make it this close. That's incredible.
Yeah, and he's electing to just make another patron there. Does this mean maybe he'll trade with the 3/2 in his face and then?
Yeah, I think since you know your opponent's playing demons, you're actually playing around Jaraxxus by not just putting him to 1. Like, that's definitely a consideration from Dota2Better, is that his opponent has Jaraxxus, and he can't afford to just go all out and put his opponent to 1 or anything like that.
Yeah, MC Tech not going to do anything here.
Yep.
Do you taunt up here as what? You just maybe play like Shredder, Voidcaller, and just Sun Fury?
Maybe there's a consideration for playing Doomguard and clearing one of the Grim Patrons. But I definitely like Shredder, Voidcaller, taunt up. That's very safe.
Yeah, from WOT's position here, like, you have to know that Grom is coming soon with how many cards that Dota 2 has drawn.
Oh, so he does play 2 Inner Rages, which we assume that he plays 2 since he's playing Patron, but he just hadn't drawn one in so long.
Yeah, they're both sitting in the bottom 5 cards.
Yep. And is there any way he can win this game? I think there still is. I think he still has a chance. He could
Dota 2.
Yeah. He still has a chance. He can Inner Rage this Grim Patron and clear the Voidwalker and push face for 1. And then maybe he has Cruel Task or something. to try to burst for 14. And in some worlds, he can get there, but it's just...
I think all the patrons are going to die this turn. I think it's probably worth playing... You can probably empty your hand and play the Doom Guard now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like trying to think of scenarios where Dota2Better has any chance in this game, but it's just so rough. He's trying to clear the board with Grom. He's even just, going for the clear, hoping his opponent does not have any way to deal with this. But Mind Control Tech is in the hand, and oh my god, Hellfire. Okay, so Hellfire, you could Hellfire, Owl, Doom Guard. You can Mind Control Tech to try to steal the Grom first, and then Hellfire and Owl. That probably seems a bit too ambitious. I like this play a lot better.
You just kill him. It's a good play too.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh my god. I was like looking at WOT's hand and looking at all the combinations, and I do not know how I just completely missed that.
No, I did the same thing actually. So
I was like focused in on how he would clear this board, and then he just had lethal the whole time. That's crazy.
That was a very intense game one. I will say that.
Yeah. Definitely. As a caster, for some reason I just like was ignoring the life total of Dota2Better. I just was not focused in on that, and WOT clearly sees it. Takes game 2 or game 1. This was game 1, right? That was a long game.
Yeah, that was a very, very long game 1, and we're gonna get right into game 2, and now we have the Warrior mirror. We have not seen very much Warrior today, but it looks like they're both playing Patron.
Yeah, and it looks like WOT has the Deathbite in his hand, so it's pretty good for him. And Dota2Better, I don't know what you do with this hand. It's a rough call. You might just mulligan all of it. You might just keep the Frothing. I'm not sure.
I'm not a great Patron player myself, but I think keeping the Frothing so you at least have something to do early game is probably smart.
Yeah, but it gets answered so easily by the Deathbite.
Yeah, I don't know. In this matchup, I tend to think that the first Patron wave is super, super important. So I'm not against throwing everything for like Deathbite and Patron.
Yeah, and that's what he
did.
Yep, that's what he wants to do. And he gets a Deathbite, he gets a Korokron Elite, and a Gromosh, and an Execute. So he really just needs Patron Inner Rage, and he's set to go. But WOT's hand, he already has the Grim Patron and the Deathbite. Now he only needs one more card. And he decides... Let's see what he decides to do.
Unstable goal there. It just gets answered so easily by War Axe, and you can get much better use of it, I think.
Yeah, and Dota2Better ends up top decking the War Axe, so it's a good thing he didn't do that and he just armored up. I think we'll just see a Frothing drop here, though, especially since he has 2 in his hand.
Yeah, this will get answered pretty easily by Coin Deathbite, but you have to go for it in case he doesn't have it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the Frothings, especially when you don't have Warsong Commander anymore, the Frothings are kind of clunky if you have multiple of them in your hand, and they just probably get worse as the game goes on.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I've seen some decks even just playing 1, because without being able to send them base for like 30 damage in 1 turn, they really are a lot less valuable.
And let's see what WOT does
Picks
here.
Up the 3rd piece to the Wombo combo, so I think he'll just go face.
Oh man, this is rough. But Dota2Better does pick up his Patron, but even if he picks up the Inner Rage next turn, WOT's gonna have it a turn before him, which is never fun.
Yeah, the problem is in this matchup is that once somebody makes Patron, both decks are basically geared to make Patrons for anybody who has them. They don't, like, all these roll-in effects affect both sides of the board, so you really can't make your own Patrons without just making more for your opponent. It just spirals downhill really fast.
Yes. Would you say it's looking grim for Dota2Better?
I guess you could put it that way if you want to put it like that.
Alright, I'm done. I'm done. Okay. Alright, so actually, this board, can it be cleared? I think it can, yeah. Dota2Better actually can clear this, which is really good for him. Now he actually has a chance to take the initiative if WOT has a weak turn.
Yeah, I guess that right there is reasoning for running Core Crown over Shredder, I think. Because if that's a Shredder, that turn becomes a lot more difficult.
If that's a Shredder, I think the game's potentially just over. To be perfectly honest, because Battle Rage value starts coming into play, and then you could chain that into like Whirlwinds, etc., etc. That doesn't happen though, and Dota2Better, he can have a pretty strong turn. He can play his own Acolyte, hit the Ghoul, and he can draw some cards. He doesn't mind taking the damage, I don't think.
No, it's an increase of 3 damage, I think, to draw an extra card.
Mm-hmm. Like 5 damage is not even that much.
No, it does leave him with a decent battle rage, but if you don't clear there, you leave like you're in the same spot most likely anyway.
Decent? It's only one card.
My bad, he never took damage. I always forget that you have to take damage to the face. You just don't get a free card.
Yeah, that's.
So that's a 4 battle rage. Ignore what I just said.
This is actually looking pretty decent for Dota2Better. If that Whirlwind allows him to not take the damage from the Frothing if he doesn't want to, or he could just Core Chrono lead into it and use his War Axe to clear the Acolyte. But we'll see what he decides to do here.
Yeah, the one issue with both of those plays is they do kind of give initiative back to WOT, but you can be a little confident at least that he might not be able to develop anything because his hand is so small.
Yep. Either way, though, you can draw off the Slam first to check, and he does get Execute. It's just a matter of whether he wants to use it or not. Let's see.
I don't think it's worth executing the 1 health minion. I think you really kind of value Execute as patron removal or something like that, as we saw last time. So I'm fine with using the Whirlwind here instead.
So what do you think about playing Korkron, running it into the Acolyte, and then... Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. Dota 2 just decides to play the Ghoul. And I don't think Patron decks are playing Silence nowadays. So I don't think there's actually any way for WOT to get that damage into face.
No, the only thing I can think of that might like work would be Sir Finley into Priest Hero Power or something ridiculous like that. But there's no reason to play around that. He's just going to keep pushing damage here. I think at this point, WOT's just looking for a Grom top deck, right?
Yeah. WOT is looking to try to end the game.
Dota 2 has a ton of options, but because his health is so low, I think he's going to have to try to pick a defensive one here. I'm not really sure what he should go with.
Oh man, there's so many options, but you have an Unsable Ghoul, so you can taunt up to try to save yourself if you're that worried. And I think that's probably what he's going to end up doing. And I like this line a lot. You're only dead to Grim Patron Inner Rage, and you've already seen an Inner Rage. And I don't know how likely. I think it's fine. This is good. It's going to work out really well for him.
Yeah. Do you think he should maybe slam that 2 health patron instead of wasting an Execute? Because it looks like he's leaning towards Execute.
If you don't execute the Grim Patron, it's just going to multiply, so...
Well, you know, you can slam it, right? The 2 health patron.
That's true.
Save the Execute for a later day. Looks like that's what he's going to go with here. Unless he's just hovering again to mess with me, which it looks like he was.
So he ends up going with the Execute. He might want to save the Slam for draw, or he might just end up slamming afterwards to clear the patrons, which is what I think might happen here.
Yeah, he can actually get rid of all the patrons here.
Yeah, so either way, both of them end up being used here to clear, which... you have no cards in your hand, but you have a Grom top deck to get you out of this.
Yeah, you have 1 out in approximately 16 cards. So it's probably not ideal, but you haven't lost yet.
Yeah, no. And we're going to see... Huh. We might just see a Lothab and a Korkron, but then you're dead to a Grom top deck.
Do you have a play that makes you not dead to Grom, though?
No, you have no play that doesn't make you dead to Grom. So, I mean, that is the play. But, yeah. WOT does not have Grom, so it's looking okay for Dota2Better. It's definitely on the edge of your seat. That Dread Corsair, though, It's gonna make you feel a little bit safer.
Yeah, you just don't
Let's.
have a weapon to play it cheaply, so he elects to just play Boom this turn instead, and just, once again, he's dead to Grom plus an activator. And there it
Oh, and
is!
there it
Wow!
is. There it is.
Jeez. And, I guess there is like a 1 in, like, 100 or something here that Grom dies to Boom bots, but
Yeah,
that
no,
doesn't
that was
happen.
it. Oh man, that's rough. If only Dread Corsair costed 3 mana.
Yeah, maybe you play it there?
I don't know. I think you know your opponent didn't have Grom last turn. He's at a high life total. He's going to eventually draw Grom. Maybe you're thinking, I just go for it now, and then if he doesn't top deck it, I win the game because I have enough pressure on the board, and then I just taunt up next turn. It's similar to how you play around combo for Druid. Like, if they don't have it, you just take one turn where you risk them not having it, and then if they don't have it, you just end up winning.
Yeah, I guess so. And unfortunately there, Grom did end up coming off the top, so...
Yeah, Watt is up 2-0 right now, and it looks like his third deck is going to be Secret Paladin, and Dota2Better opts to queue his Freeze Mage, which is probably his best matchup.
Yeah, this is borderline free win. Basically, without a nut draw from the Paladin, I think this is really, really difficult.
Yeah. But Dota2Better's hand is looking pretty good. Watt's hand's looking pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Like,
I think one thing that's really important in this matchup for the Freeze Mage is being able to get off a big Nova Doomsayer, just because Secret Paladin doesn't really have any way to deal with it, and it's like clear like that is really good at dealing with the Divine Shields, like things like Mini Bot that Paladin so often plays. So if Dota 2 can put that together in his hand, I think he'll be in a really good spot, as opposed to just like an okay spot that I think he's in now.
yeah, and Watt draws a second secret, so we're probably just going to see 2 secrets come down in face, and that is actually pretty good top deck, I think. That's actually probably one of your best top decks. Normally you don't like to draw secrets, but in this scenario, that secret pushes so much damage.
Yeah, this is going to be one really big Seeker Keeper here.
Oh my
Do you
god,
agree with
yeah.
attacking there, or do you think maybe you should have held just in case?
I actually, he might just want the secret, so he doesn't draw a secret. He has less of a chance to draw a secret, because he really needs to draw Doomsayer. So maybe part of his thinking of attacking there was to pull the secret out of this deck to give him a higher chance to draw Doomsayer.
Yeah, that is true. If he does get a Doomsayer, the 7/7 will become irrelevant relatively quickly. He can freeze it this turn if he really wants.
If he wants to, he could clear it, but that feels really awkward. He might end up doing it.
Ooh.
He might just Ice Lance this and clear it. But
That doesn't feel good.
that does not feel good, no. And you know your opponent has a card that he kept in his opening hand, and he has the coin that he saved.
Yeah, so you're pretty worried about Mysterious Challenger next turn. Divine Favor in the Secret Paladin deck as well. That's a huge card against Freeze Mage, I think.
Yup. That is going to come into play in about 2 turns, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll see Challenger next turn, and then the turn after that, he'll probably like empty his hand and play Divine Favor. These secrets off the top are not really helping Dota 2 better at all.
It's just so bad. That's honestly, I feel for him.
You've been there.
I've been there. But either way, Watt's gonna have the turn 5 Mysterious Challenger, and he's just gonna push face. The beautiful thing about this matchup, though, is it can turn around in an instant as soon as Dota 2 draws his Doomsayer.
Yeah, I think that's all he needs to make this game a lot more favored in his direction. Divine Favor is kind of like a game changer, I guess. It's not something a lot of Secret Paladins run, but it could draw 5 or 6 cards and give like Watt a second chance at building up his board and creating a lot of pressure, and maybe hoping that the Freeze Mage can't deal with round 2.
Mm-hmm. So, do you ever just not attack here? I don't know. I don't think you can afford to. I think you need to just try to dig for the Doomsayer.
Yeah, if you can pick up like a Blizzard or something here too, you can like Blizzard this turn and Frost Nova next turn, or not Frost Nova, Flame Strike next turn, and hopefully deal with everything that way.
Yeah, Arcane Intellect into Frost Nova seems pretty solid. You might just end up saving the Frost Nova and just Ice Barrier, because your opponent can't pop you or anything like that.
Yeah, I just really think Dota 2 needs a Doomsayer. He can actually just win this game. Still hasn't found it. I think you kind of have to Frost Nova. That's a lot of damage coming at you, especially after this competitive spirit goes off too.
Yep. That Frost Nova's blocking, what, 17 damage? It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was a 3-mana card that says heal for 17, I think you'd probably play it. So.
Yep. And WOT's going to get a pretty good Divine Favor here. And it looks like he's good to go for the rest of his turns.
Yeah, he basically just drew all his big cards.
He did, but he didn't draw a 2-drop like Minibot to try to progress the board more. He just ends up hero powering.
Yeah.
And, man, Dota2Better is not drawing his Blizzards.
You can still Flame Strike kill the 7/7. I mean, it feels a little bad to leave him with the Shredder and 2 1/1s, but it deals with most of it, and you're still not dead next turn.
Yeah, this is definitely the play. But it's just so unfortunate that you were unable to find your Doomsayer and your Blizzards, because this is a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's gone through almost half his deck already. He still hasn't found it.
Oh my...
He doesn't even have a way to freeze this board, does he?
No, this is actually really rough. So if you're thinking about Ice Burying, are you gonna...
I think you have to Ice Lance something big here, or maybe even Frostbolt the Shredder and then Ice Lance the Boom. But how do you win if you use both your Frostbolt and Ice Lances? Is board clear?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might just have to Arcane Intellect and pray that you draw your second Frost Nova at this point. And, oh... So, if you play Ice Barrier, are you still dead? You are dead to... I think...
You're dead to board. Frostbolt changes that.
Okay, so he does Frostbolt. He Frostbolt's the Shredder. No Doomsayer, unfortunately, for Dota2Better, but...
He can still find lethal Walk-Can, though, so...
Yeah, he's not dead on board. And I don't think what actually...
Yeah, he has exactly enough with True Silver Keeper of Uldum.
10, 14. Yep. Oh, man. This is rough for Dota2Better. I don't actually know if there's any way he can win, since he doesn't have a way to deal with those Boombots either. He can't... If he draws something like a Blizzard, he can't Blizzard, or he's dead to the Boombots.
Yeah, he's in a, I think, unwinnable spot. I mean, maybe if you draw Frost Nova, you can, like, stall this game out. But
Okay.
Unless
So let's
he
think...
runs, like, Reno, right?
Yeah, let's think about this. So you have Frost Nova into Ice Block, Ice Barrier, maybe? I don't even know.
I mean, he can survive another turn if he wants with, like, a block and barrier. Or just probably a block, and then maybe Fireball ping onto the... I guess you just play Emperor.
Yeah, you play it out, see what happens. If you had drawn a Frost Nova here, I think there would have been like a small chance, but I just don't see any way.
Yeah, we're just going to be in the same spot again as last turn, except now Dota 2 doesn't have a second block to bail him out. I guess you can Alexstrasza yourself and maybe freeze the Boom to, like, again, stall another turn, but you're just burning win conditions to stay alive.
Yeah, and here we're probably going to see something like a Piloted Shredder. Make your board even more resilient to AoE.
Yeah, there is the Frost Nova. That'll help stall out as well.
He's not... Okay, actually he is dead because of the Knife Juggler. If he Frost Nova Ice Lance's face, or Frost Nova Ice Barriers into something, he's still dead to the Juggler.
That's actually really heads up from WOT last turn, not hero powering or playing another minion, so that he has that option to pop the block. It's not something you always think about.
Yeah, that was a really good play by WOT to not hero power that last turn. Gives him the guaranteed lethal, almost no matter what. And I don't know if there's any outs. I'm pretty sure there's not, right?
No. Nope, the only, like, nothing in his hand.
Oh, wait, no. If he Alexes himself, is there any way? 9, 12...
He can
no.
Alex himself and Ice Lance the boom, and maybe that buys him another turn, but I don't think so.
Yeah, the problem with that is how do you actually win the game
Yeah,
if you do that?
you don't, so...
Because then you don't have any burn. You already use a Frostbolt Ice Lance to clear a Secret Keeper. So if you don't Alex your opponent, how do you actually even deal the damage to win?
You don't. 50-50 here for WOT to win the game. And the series, actually.
No, it's not a 50-50. You just,
Oh, you just swing in to...
Yeah, you just swing in the True Silver on the Loot Hoarder.
Oh, I assumed that he was going to freeze his face, and I guess he just didn't, and I kind of timed it out. And yeah, that's going to be game, so 3-0 to WOT, I believe.
Yeah, that was really impressive play by WOT. Dota2Better just got the short end of the stick. It was played really well by both players. And it looks like WOT is moving on to the finals.
Yeah, and he will be up against Camsh, I believe?
Yeah, he'll be playing the Camsh, who took down Bloody in our last streamed match.
So that should be an exciting game. Those are two pretty good players. They both looked pretty dominant in their semifinals, so it should be interesting to see who comes out on top in the end here.
Yep, so stay tuned, and don't touch those browsers, because we'll be right back with the finals of Tuesday Night Hype number 56.